Welcome back to A Pinch of Salt. Prior to an at-home cooking class, I provide the clients with a list of groceries that they have to actually go and purchase. One of them, which is usually on there, is chicken stock. So what we have in front of us, we have the chicken, all the bones, and if it was something that you didn't want to or felt comfortable taking apart a chicken, you can actually, roast a chicken if you were making it for dinner and then save those bones. It's just like Thanksgiving time and you have that turkey left over. You can actually use the bones after they've been cooked to be a part of your stock. So it's something that's nice to just put in the freezer or tuck away in the refrigerator until you're ready. So here we're using one that hasn't been cooked. Then we have some garlic. There's not a real, that's the fun part of making a stock. There's not a real recipe, and they shouldn't be. So if you like garlic, go for it. This is one head of garlic that I just cut in half. Otherwise you can use 1 or 2 cloves, just depends on yourself. Some thyme, it was fresh thyme, it's kind of dying now, which is great. It's a nice way of also using up dried herbs, if you will, but that were fresh. And then some parsley stems. You don't want the actual leaves. The leaves would make the stock a little bit green in color, which is definitely not the look we're going for. And here is a mixture, and then again, it's some celery, it's some leeks, it's some carrots. But the thing is that you shouldn't grocery shop to make a stock. It's stuff that you keep in a little container, and what I do is every time I'm cooking, I just add it and add it and add it, and by the end of it, you get a nice little bulk of something. You want a pot that's going to be pretty high so that everything can kind of float in there and start concentrating flavors. You don't want anything too small. It's just like when you're making pasta. You wouldn't put a lot of pasta in something that's way too small for it to move around it. I'm going to get the pot on. I add a little bit of oil. It's just so that I don't get any of the any sticking. So I don't know, anywhere from 2 tablespoons of oil. And then what I'm going to do is heat that up just like if we were going to saute. But the idea is to actually brown everything that we're putting into the pot. So I'm going to get the chicken into our pan, and we're going to get the chicken fat. Again, if you were using, what I do is, even if I'm just buying chicken legs or chicken wings, like for Super Bowl, etc., I save the little tips and I put in a little freezer bag, and then when I ever get to it, I just use it. It's very fatty, as you can see, and then you can do a small portion of stock. You don't have to go ahead and do a whole thing. So we get this all in, we crank it up, and we're going to start browning it. Into that, this is really simple. All of this is going in as well. And you notice I'm using the skins and the outer layers of the onions, the garlic, what have you. So this is everything in. And our peppercorns and the bay leaf. And then we're going to add a good pinch of salt. It's been about 15 minutes, and you can see that we're getting some of the browning. You can see it in the onion, a little bit in the carrot, that there's some caramelization going, and then even from the bottom of the pan, which is great stuff. So you just want to kind of scrape it up and get all that going. And then we're going to add some water. You always want to start with cold water. The idea is that you don't want to get a real cloudy looking stock. So we get some water in. This is about 6 cups. I don't know, we might need more depending on, you might need less. You just want to kind of cover everything, but not to the point that it's too high, because you want them to concentrate. You want to concentrate the flavors, but you don't want to make something. The more water you add, and I can add a little bit more, I have some extra here. The more water you add, the more you're going to let it reduce. So just enough to barely cover, and then I'm going to increase the heat, because what I want to do is bring it up to a boil. I'm just giving it a stir, kind of scraping down below. It already smells so good. Bring it up to a boil. Once it reaches a boil, then I'm going to lower it, and we want to just keep it on a simmer. So it's been about 5 minutes, and if you look inside the pot, you're actually going to see little bubbles forming on the sides, which is good. It's on a low, it's a simmer, exactly where we want to be. But you also notice that there's some cloudiness or some white suds on the top. You could actually get a skimmer and skim the fat. So you would actually just go through it, take some, put it into a little bowl, etc. And that's perfectly fine. You would do that every couple of hours. But I like to cheat, and I actually let it just do its own thing for a while. The idea of getting rid of all the suds, though, just to explain that, is so that you don't end up with a very cloudy stock. You know, you want something that's pretty clear and nice. Think of when you do buy those box stocks. There's nothing going through it but besides the liquid. So that's exactly what you want. Something nice and clear, but flavorful. what I do is I'm just gonna let this go for a couple of hours. If you want to skim, definitely go and skim, but I'm gonna let it just go. The thing is that when I strain it, I have two options. I can either strain it and then allow it to cool, refrigerate it, and then in a couple of hours it would harden the fat on top, and then I can just take the fat off easily. Or I can use a defatter, which is this little guy here, and strain it and then pour it in, and then it'll separate the fat versus the stuff that we really want, which is our stock. So it's been about 2.5 hours. I could have left it longer. You could definitely do so, but I'm gonna shut it at this point. So I'm gonna shut it off. Bring it, and then I got a little setup with a bowl and a strainer, and I'm gonna pour out everything. Just be careful, and it smells amazing. It makes you want chicken soup for sure. But you can use it for so many different things, flavoring risotto. You can flavor couscous. You can flavor some rice, whatever, you know. Make a sauce. Definitely anytime you would use a liquid, you can pretty much, you know, change it out. So now you're left with this wonderful, smells good, stock. And you notice the fat. So if we would have skimmed it, you would have gotten rid of that. But if not, that's perfectly fine. So again, we can let it cool, and you can put it over ice so that it comes to a temperature, cool temperature, so you can put it in your refrigerator and not have a problem. So you can definitely do that. Or you can start by ladling it, like let's say I was using it now and I wanted to get it into a recipe, I can ladle and I pour it in, and you're gonna see what starts to happen. So any of the fat, if there's much fat, because it looks also that there's not much fat going on here, which is good. But after a couple of minutes, I'll put it down now, and you'll start seeing that towards the top you're getting that film of fat, and then all the bottom is the good stuff. So the moment I start pouring, it actually will be the good stuff, and then the fat just continues to remain and will go down, settle in. So I can use it right away. What I am going to do though is I'm going to cool this down. I have anywhere up to no more than 2 hours again, because otherwise it hits that danger zone, and then I'm going to get it in the refrigerator. You can, if you're little on space, because you're not going to use all of this unless you were planning something big, you can also reduce it and reduce it to the point that you can now fit it either in a container like this, or even in an ice cube tray. And then you can use like an ice cube and a cup of water or something to just kind of equal it out, because as you reduce it, it intensifies the flavors, and you're cooking out all the liquid, which would be the water, and keeping the flavor. So you're just locking it in so much. So it's up to you. It's completely up to you. But that's pretty much your stock. So hope you enjoyed making stock with me, and that you find different things that you can definitely add this into. And again, if you were vegetarian, you can omit the chicken, still brown up the vegetables so that you're getting that block of flavor, that bunch of flavor that's going on. Or if you were a beef person, you can definitely add some beef bones in there, a combination of the two, so long as you eat both. There's many ways to take it, but the gist of it is there. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to visit me at www.pinchofsalt.com and send me any questions anyway.